Hello, welcome back to Oolykee Gaming and welcome back to another episode of Workers and Resources, Soviet Republic, Friday tutorial. Today we're gonna focus and talk about the trains. Right, we already sounded like one of those train enthusiasts, which actually I like. Well, why not? I think it's more efficient transport than trucks, but that's just my 2 cents. Okay, so what are we going to do now? We're gonna try to prove a point. Let's see how we can try to do that. So we need to build a railroad. So we're gonna build a railroad over here. This railroad is gonna be 200, let's say 300 meters long. 300 meter long railroad costs around 9,900. This is a wood one with the beams. Okay, so 300 meter long railroad with concrete costs only a little bit more, literally a little bit more, 200, 300 rubles more, and that's about it. Difference is staggering, so you will practically never want to build these railroads. That's a shame, but unfortunately this is how things are. If you're paying it for yourself, it's just better to go for something that actually has speed to it. And these are the maximum speeds that we can handle, 150 kilometers per hour. So scratch this by all means necessary, unless you have some kind of backwards Hamlet that only creates woods and steel. No concrete, but there you go. So just build concrete ones. They're more worth it. Trains are amazing. They're really probably the best transport thing we have in the game, and they can transport practically unlimited amounts of whatever you want. But bear in mind that the train tracks can get really busy. Okay, so as a demonstration I have a simple T section. Second thing, forget about X sections and that kind of stuff. That's a space science, and it can work, but better not mess with that, and just continue using T sections. If you need to use, if you need a train line that goes directly through, just build a bridge over it or create another T section somewhere else and just continue with it. X, it would be quite complicated. Theoretically it's possible, but you might run into a lot of issues with creating actually these train lines, where they are technically possible, but like I said, just don't mess with it and you're gonna be better off. Right, so what do we have here? We have a normal T kind of 3 train stations section over here, and I have all of them connected line to a line. Now the problem with this is not a circular line, and if we stick trains to go on the right hand side or left hand side, whatever you wish, they're gonna have to go back in the opposite direction. Now how do you do that? There are a couple of these X intersections that you can build. It's just a simple one. If you go to the train lines, I'm gonna just remove this one and create it all over again. So we have a concrete-based railroad. I can build it a little bit further down, and you just build 1X. Don't be cheapskate on the space, because this can cause some issues. If they are too short, we can try it. The game can go a little bit wonky and not allow you to build it. You're gonna have some weird shapes and stuff. So leave it a little bit more space for trains so they can navigate around it. Now this alone won't help. Actually, it's gonna cause more problems, because currently we have all these lines connected. And as soon as you have these lines connected, your semaphores will register a train on the line. In this case, train registers itself as being on the line. Let me show you what I mean by that. This is all connected to this. Everything, absolutely everything here is connected until you put semaphores. Semaphores create blocks. Let's call them blocks. Semaphores, I can straight away see that I made a mistake here, but it doesn't matter. Here we go. If you start separating your railroad into blocks, you're gonna resolve issues. So let's start resolving issues. This is how it's supposed to look. If we can actually click over here, there we go. And we just created a block. This block is clear and free, and this train can easily go in there. Perfectly fine. This is how it's supposed to work. This train is alone on this line. As soon as he passes here, this is gonna go green, because there is no more train in this block. Everything else here is counted as a separate block, but it doesn't matter, because this train doesn't have anybody else bothering him on this line. Okay, So what's next? If you want to have more than one train on the line, which obviously you won't with this kind of setup with this many railroads, you will have to use your semaphores. So let's go and create a let's create an intersection. Intersection, first, what does semaphores mean? Semaphore is the thing that stops the train from going forward. For example, here, as previously said, all of this is one giant block, and this train is actually blocking itself from going there because it registers train there. Okay, so how does he not register train there? Well, create a block. So we have a length of the train. I'm going to explain this later. Length of the train, it's this long. So try to have at least one length of the train free space in front of it. You're going to create another block, and this train can go into this block. Okay, so what's the difference between semaphores? Mixed ones are new ones, and I'm still testing it, but I think I have a pretty good idea what they are for, and therefore these kind of station setups. I'm going to show you about this. Currently this train is doing fine, and as far as I understand, I think he's going to be fine for a while. Okay, so let's talk about semaphores. Normal semaphore tells you this: if it's free, go, and that's it. That's the only thing it tells you. If this section is free, you can go. You have a green light. Now, what would happen if I put a chain semaphore here? Bam, red. So why is that? Because chain semaphore tells you if the section after next is free, then you can go. So let's see, semaphore here is chain semaphore. So if we put another straight through normal semaphore over here, our chain semaphore becomes green. So that means if this section is free, you can go. If it's not free, wait here. Why is this important? This is important because of the intersections. You would never put this, you will never put a chain semaphore on your normal railroad. Why? Let's see why. So this one tells you, if the next one is free, you can go. But what if the next one is chain as well? That means if the next one is free, you can go, but you cannot pass this one because after this, the next one has to be free and then go. So what will happen if I put the normal semaphore over here? So we have a normal semaphore over here, and suddenly let's check the lights. First one, you're fine to go because second block is free. The second one says that if this block and this block are free, you can go. What would happen if we put a chain semaphore over here? Oh, suddenly no. And look at the old semaphores. All semaphores turn red. Why? Because these chain semaphore actually create a chain reaction where you have so many semaphores that have the next. Technically, all one to the last has to be free for a train to pass. So this is useless. Don't do this. Every intersection should have chain semaphore going into the intersection and normal semaphore going out of the intersection. Now, why are we creating these ones? Let me show you this. I'm gonna do this for every intersection right now. I'm gonna create a normal intersection how I know best, and I'm not really sure that I know the best, but I'll still. This is my opinion. This is what I learned in the game. I will create a normal intersection here where every single segment is gonna have a chain semaphore going in and the normal semaphore going out. Why normal semaphore going out? Because we need train to clear the intersection as soon as possible. Why? Because this intersection is obviously used by more than one line, and who knows how many trains you're gonna have. Okay, so we removed these semaphores. We only have semaphores on the intersections. Before we continue, we're gonna focus on the train stations. Now, train stations are pretty cool. I'm gonna set a second train on this line, and I'm gonna put it normal, just one stop, and I'm gonna zoom out and go on the other side of this railroad, the same line as the first train, and you can go here. Actually, I think they already had it there. Sorry about that. I already set this one up, but I'm just gonna have to let him go and do his voodoo. I'm gonna show you how this works now. These trains are operating on the same line. I'm pretty sure they're operating on the same line. Here we go, and Drarori. Okay, this one is not the same one. So we're gonna go and remove Drarori, and we're gonna send it to this station. Okay. And we're gonna remove Drarori just so they're on the same line. Okay, let him play on the same line right now, and he's gonna be refueling right now, but that's fine. We can speed this up, we don't have any issues with this. Okay, so when you have all these semaphores set up, this is perfect. This is really good. But what's going to happen with this station? This station obviously has two platforms that can be loaded at the same time. With this setup, you will not be able to use both platforms. You're only going to be using one platform. Why is that? Because this whole section over here is only one segment. Now we can segment this even further. How can we do that? We're going to go on the other side to the other station. We're going to start from there. In order to utilize both of the tracks, we're going to try to do this. You're going to go and put in going semaphore like this. That means if there's a train passing through the intersection, do not go forward. When the train clears the intersection, this segment, then go forward. After that, we're going to have chain semaphore over here just to close off the segment. Sorry, the normal semaphore over here, the close of the segment. And here we go. We created another station as a segment for itself. But, like I said previously, this is not going to be acting like a separate segment, and you will not be able to have two trains attending the same station because they both cannot be in the same block at the same time. But if you create more blocks, how do you do it? Previously we would do it with the chain semaphores and they work perfectly fine, like this. That means when train comes here and when it wants to go somewhere, let's say left or right, it can. It just has to wait for this intersection to be cleared. I will put a third train here and we'll see how they're gonna react how they're gonna react then. So we have third train over here. I'm gonna set it up going from here and going to this station. Let's see how three of them are gonna be reacting to each other. Here we go. Okay, they're on their merry way and right. So we created, I will probably put more trains over here just so we can see how they react with the train stations. So we're gonna go for chain semaphores like we set up on the other hand. Here we go. And as soon as he sees that this segment is free, but bear in mind this is free only because there's no intersection between those two segments. Purple segments are the ones that have multiple options, like intersections. Orange segments are huge segments. I am not really sure what exactly that means, but they are huge segments. And in this case here, you can see that two trains can use the same station easily. We can see them on the other side as well, but look what's happening over here. We have an issue with this train. This segment is not free because we didn't set up this intersection and there's a train in this segment. If we had a semaphore over here, like chain semaphore, this wouldn't happen. Also, we need to put this one in here. We need to put chain semaphore coming in to the intersection. Do that, doesn't matter if you have any trains coming in here or not. Do that every time because you will need this for your for if you create, for example, if I show you this, if we remove one of these segments and you decide that you want to make this intersection over here, these segments will suddenly become connected to each other, and they're gonna be different color. They're not blue. They're not the same as they were before. So always separate your segments so you are pretty much free. Well, in every single segment. Okay, let's see how the trains are reacting over here. Okay, currently there's not enough trains over here. They're perfectly separated to each other, and this system works. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to put more trains here, so let me get a couple of them more, and I will be back in 1 second. Here we go. We have a couple of train sets, and they're all interacting with each other. And suddenly we have a problem. Okay, so what happened over here? This is the problem when you don't have enough space after an intersection. Let me show you what I mean. If we go back to the intersections, and you can see here that this signal here told this train that it can go all the way through and that it's fine. As long as he can enter the next segment, it's fine. But it's not fine. So how can we resolve this? Because it's not fine because it doesn't have a lot of enough space to put the whole train into this segment. So what could have been done here to resolve this? First of all, we need to treat, if you have two intersections next to each other, like this is one intersection, this is second intersection, you cannot give them permission to go to that intersection if they cannot exit both of the intersections, because if they get stuck within that intersection, and that's big no-no, never have your train stuck in any intersections, you're gonna create this kind of problem. Okay, so how can we resolve this? Usually you would have to sell a train, but look, there's a couple of things you can do. You can always tell them, look, you don't have to abide by any rules, just go away. Okay, so this is gonna create some resolution. And here we go. We can reverse this train, for example, and then this is going to be resolved. Now let's see if this is going to happen if we put chain semaphore over here. So we have chain semaphore over here, and we have chain semaphore over here. Let me just try to plonk it in there. There we go. Let's see if this is going to happen now. Okay, so we have this intersection functioning, but why is this train not leaving this intersection? Well, he's supposed to go in this right-hand side lane after this intersection, and it's not clear. Why? Because there's a train in it. But how can you create more space? Why doesn't he go in there and just right behind this train? Well, he has to follow the rules of the semaphores. Okay, so how do we do that? In this case, this train has perfectly clear line in this row. So, how do we get this train to go? Look, red light, he cannot go. Well, I pause this for a second to show you. Bear in mind that this has to be enough distance for your biggest trains to pass there. So, you can create segments in the big stretches of line, you can create segments. And we're gonna create several segments. Here we have one segment, and we're gonna create another one over here. Bear in mind that it has to be long enough for your longest train, because if a really long train gets into this segment and his ass is sticking on this side, that's gonna be a problem, because he's gonna be blocking this intersection. Now let's see how these trains are gonna react. We have on this side one huge segment, and we have three small segments on this side. How is this going to react? Well, you can see straight away from here that these trains, for example, that are leaving this station, cannot leave the station because this huge segment is populated by this train. Other trains can go into the intersection. Now, developers introduce something called blue light. Blue light is okay, you can go, but if you're not gonna crash the second train, which is pretty cool. I mean, nobody wants that to happen. But look, this line, this segment or this line has one by one train passing here, and this one has trains backing up onto each other, creating more fluid transport over here. Now, if we did the same on this side, so for example, if we're gonna just demonstrate how much of a backlog this creates. You can see that these trains are waiting, and they're gonna be waiting still. Now, this train doesn't have to wait anymore. Let me show you why. What can we do? If we create a segment over here, this train is just gonna go. Why? Because next segment is free. And then if we create more segments over here, apologize for this. If we create more segments over here, oh right, okay. This one doesn't like it. Yeah, seems to be an issue with the building of the railroad here, but it doesn't matter. We can always do somewhere around here. Here we go. This was an issue with the railroad construction. This is still some of the bugs that the game is experiencing, obviously. But there we go. We can treat this one as a one longer segment, and it's gonna be fine. If we do the same on the other side, for example, if we create segments here and segments here. Okay, I think this should be long enough, but let's check it out. And then we do the same ones here. So every so often, length of the train create these semaphores. And let's see how our train lights are going to react like right now. No hold up. This is going to hold up because the intersection is stopped. This is going to be holding up because, like I said, this is a big intersection or dual intersection. You can see how the trains are waiting. What about the other side? We don't have any big intersections. We have this one here. But how do they react? As soon as they're done with this, as soon as this train passes the semaphore, they're off. And they're leaving. perfectly smooth. Now, bear in mind, this is more or less the capacity of this line. Do not put more trains than this. Yes, trains, even though they have one line there, one line back, you think you can put as many as you can? Yeah, you can, but if you add a couple of cargo trains here, this is gonna be really clogged train line. But anyway, let's try to do one other thing. I'm gonna introduce a couple of trains. I'm gonna change one of the lines just to see how they react in these T intersections. It's not gonna be anything drastic. It's just additional intersection, same as we have here. This would be absolutely the same. These intersections here reacts exactly the same like T intersection, like this intersection. Just keep it separate from everything else and keep these rules in mind. You have the chain semaphore getting into any intersection, and you have straight out semaphores leaving an intersection. That's it. The other rule is just to speed up the flow of the trains, just have these one-way normal semaphores everywhere on your line. As soon as you get into the intersection, simple rule, chain semaphore in, normal semaphore out, and that's it. These semaphores, bear in mind, they have to be distance more than your longest train that's going to be serving your line. You can see here that this one is not. That means that this segment is never going to be free while this train is on this track. So keep in mind that you should keep it long enough for all of your trains. That's about it. That's all the knowledge. Let me try to introduce a couple of more lines to see how they react then. Here we go. Okay, so I have every train running to every station in kind of randomized way, and you can see here that this guy is trying to get to Drayori station, which is this one. Of course, he can't enter this intersection because he cannot clear it. Why? Because it was occupied by this train. What do I mean by that? It's not separated by semaphores like the rest of them are. Now, if you want this to function properly, you definitely should separate this into sections. Okay, so first sections would be something like this. So let's try to build one of those here. We're gonna do another one over here. Right hand side going one way, left hand side the other one. Doesn't matter if you want to drive on the left hand side, that's perfectly fine as well. And the last segment that you're supposed to be building would be like this. Enter the intersection, and then we have chain ones. Okay, this is what I know, and this is what I know how it works like. This should flow as smooth as it can with this amount of trains on these tracks. They're gonna separate each other as much as they can because of the semaphores, because of the stations they're serving, but also if they have to go somewhere, they just have to go somewhere. For example, there's a lot of trains servicing this station at the same time. Unfortunately, that's just because we started it straight away. They're gonna clear themselves up quite soon. Anyway, we come to the last point here, which is mysterious for me still. I'm pretty sure I understand how it works, but this would be mixed normal and signal pre-signal. They call it pre-signal right now. They call it pre-signal because it's signal for after the signal. So it's pre-signal. I'm pretty sure that they're supposed to be work like this. The mixed semaphores are supposed to be replacing these chain semaphores over here. Why is that? Because you can have a train that comes to this line and then goes back. But if you need a train that you have extension of this railroad, that there's a train that needs to go forward on the other side, they have to have an option to go in both directions. So I believe that this is how it's supposed to work. So we're gonna have chain semaphore coming in, and you would have, in this case, I believe, something like this. I'm pretty sure that this should be like this. Maybe it's like this. Anyway, so right, they're running low on fuel. But anyway, this is the basics. This is the basics of the railroads. Just bear in mind this. Again, intersection, chain going in, normal going out. Train stations, create X far enough from your train stations because they need to be able to turn around. If you created an intersection over here, the big trains wouldn't be able to turn around. Have enough space. Create segments on your long lines. on your long stretches of railroad, create segments of normal semaphores, not chain semaphores, normal semaphores. This will speed up your traffic because your trains will go to the next segment as long as they are free. They will not slow down your trains at all whatsoever. You can see them flowing perfectly as fast as they can go. In this case, this train is going, well, fast, 80 kilometers per hour. That's the slowest one we have in this section. Anyway, that's about it. Chain semaphores in, normal semaphores out. Normal semaphores across the road, across the railroad, in the direction that the trains are going, and have this kind of exchange running on your train stations or wherever you want your trains to turn around, that they can go in the opposite direction. One going in, one going out, and the section where they have to change, either put the chain semaphores or use the new mixed ones, which I'm still pretty sure that they're supposed to be used this way, but I'm not guaranteeing that, still trying it out. Right, I hope this helps. This is by no means scripted, obviously. I just did it because this was my idea to do it this weekend. Unfortunately, preparation will be done better for the next one. Anyway, guys, hopefully this helps. If it doesn't, leave a nasty comment in the comment section. Correct me if I'm wrong often, so help the brother out. Yeah, guys, thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.